Ladies and gentlemen, today I'd like to talk to you about hurricanes and how they form. The idea came because I read about the hurricane Gonzalo, which hit Bermuda in October 2014 with a speed of up to 110 miles per hour. 2014 was also the year in which there were two hurricanes hitting Bermuda, the other one being Hurricane Faye. And I probably should tell you that Hurricane Faye was only a few days before Hurricane Gonzalo hit. And if you can see, the order in terms of naming the hurricanes are by alphabet. First we had Hurricane Faye, which is with an F, and then Hurricane Gonzalo, which is G, following the alphabet. So I looked into how hurricanes are named, because I think many people are interested to know how. So basically there's a list of female and male names, and they rotate on a 6-year basis. There are exceptions. If there's a hurricane which is known for a specific event which is very catastrophic, then they won't reuse that name. Which I think probably one example is Hurricane Katrina, because everybody knows this is a specific one that happened then and there. The names are established by the World Meteorological Organization, and for North Atlantic they have established 6 lists of 20 male and female names, and they are recycled every 6 years. The list does not have names which start with a Q, U, X, Y, or Z. There are separate lists depending on where the storm is forming, what happens. So this is a list for the North Atlantic, but there are another lists for the Pacific Ocean, for the Indian Ocean, and also one for storms across Australasia. So the Gonzalo hurricane, which I started off with, continued after hitting Bermuda. It continued to Ireland and the UK, and it hit the UK with around 70 miles per hour. Hurricanes are a natural phenomenon, and they have a devastating effect on humans and the environment. And basically they are tropical storms. They are known as cyclones in the Indian Sea and Southeast Pacific. And in Japan, hurricanes are known as typhoons. Most hurricanes start off small. There's small wind disturbances, and most hurricanes happen between June and November each year. Most hurricanes hit the east coast of the US. They develop in tropical waters, as I already mentioned, and they need a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius. Usually they form around the equator, not exactly on the equator, because there's no airflow, you could say. They need, like I said, they need at least 26 degrees to form, but if it's more than 28 degrees when they form, you can expect it to be a serious hurricane. But I'd like to now tell you exactly how hurricanes form. You have warm water on the surface of the Atlantic Ocean, and that warm water evaporates and it forms vapor, which then condenses and forms water droplets. And these clusters we call thunderstorms. And that change of moisture, it releases energy. What I mean is when vapor becomes water droplets, because it condenses. Condensation is a change of state. That releases energy, and that energy is used by hurricanes. So the water vapor travels to higher altitudes, so from the water surface to higher altitudes, and in the atmosphere it meets cold air, and that means it creates an area of high pressure. So the imbalance between the low pressure close to the surface of the Atlantic Ocean and the means that there's an increase of evaporation rate. Then there's more and more moist air and also heated air drawn upwards in higher altitudes, and that means that colder air and drier air is falling to lower altitudes, so there's like an exchange. And that means that the size and the power of the hurricane gets stronger, is increasing because of that. Then you might ask yourself why hurricanes spin. It's basically to do with the rotation of the Earth. And the storm itself spins simultaneously as well around its own center, and it increases speed as it does. If it reaches a speed of at least 75 miles per hour, we classify it as a full-blown hurricane. And I already mentioned the Earth is spinning, which is why hurricanes are spinning. In the northern hemisphere, the hurricanes spin anti-clockwise, and hurricanes in the southern hemisphere spin clockwise. The center of the hurricane is called eye, and around the eye is a wall which we call eye wall. And that's the most destructive part of the hurricane. And that's also where you've got the highest speed. The hurricane itself is around 300 miles wide, and the eye itself, like the center of the hurricane, is around 20 to 30 miles. Luckily, in the UK, we don't usually experience strong hurricanes, so we are quite lucky, whereas in the US, they're hit frequently by hurricanes. And here I'd like to conclude my speech.